Yeah, exactly. So we're letting them guys.
At the very least.
Yeah, they're called MRI. They do a lot of dark fog picture work.
I did tests for 10 years.
Right.
All right, so we're live.
Were you able to print those things?
Yeah, so she said that she was going to
Oh,
email
awesome.
me.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. So there's more filming this weekend? Yeah, so that's when the hair joke. That's right. So we're gonna do progress photos. Okay. And Julie Lenzer's gonna be in. Yep, she's over there. Well, she's gonna be around. I don't know if Tommy's gonna be on. You're welcome. I was thinking about. I still think it's stuff going on. So now they imagine it would be perfect. It's up to your license. But you know, whatever. If you don't have to do anything. No, come in, check it out. Remember, this is my I'm talking dirty jokes. I've done it. We send me in the rooms. What are you working on? Funding with our projects. We got tons of projects and just secured a license deal with a company out of Texas. So for one of our products, one of our games, we created a game. And so the board game? Yeah, sort of a toy board game. So what we do, we come up with ideas and I don't want to spend my time building it and selling it, so we try to get another company to pick it up. I come up with a screwdriver. I don't know screwdrivers. They make tools. What is the expectation of you when you bring this on? Usually we go to a contract, we'll figure out, okay, what kind of royalty percentage, you know, they can mass produce it, they'll make it out of China, Mexico, India, wherever, and they'll do shipping, fulfillment, and all that. So we'll do it, and we'll get a contract. Then they'll go and produce a product. How do you traverse, or have you found it to be an issue that this, or there's an expectation of how much market you've already gotten for this, and how many units you've sold, those sorts of things? Typically, if it's a new product, there's probably no units sold. Some of them, most of it's that's not an issue for you. Some companies are like, we don't think there's a market for it, so we don't want it. Yeah, some companies are like, that's a great market. We have a market for that, and we'll pick it up, and we'll pay you a royalty. You know, again, I don't want to be manufacturing toys rest of my life, so I have them do it. You want to go inside here, or I think they're gonna. Are you gonna watch it, or you're gonna fry by yourself?
So we're all actually going to go over here. This larger room, and so we can get a briefing on the.
No, I think we gotta go anyway.
We're going to talk about how they're going to.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, sure. When you're ready, and you choose, because I'm going to segue into telling you top of the blue. Is that okay?
If the autonomous thing is not going to work, then go manual. Then at least for the manuals, nice and smooth and not jittering as much as possible. Okay. But when you come back out, this thing's got to light up, and you need to move it. So even if you're the one driving it, so fine. Okay. Because you could possibly stand back here and drive it from there, so it goes. Okay. So, but pick one and just get it ready. I don't think that's going to be here. Just good luck. You will try to buy some time.
Okay, cool. All right.
I don't need it down since. Okay.
You don't take it much beyond,
You guys want to say hello?
Hi,
What's your name?
I'm Niket. I'm from.
And I'm Sakun.
All right, here's the robot. Did you guys name the robot yet?
Yeah, it's called Cobra.
Cobra?
Yeah.
Cool, very cool.
Are you coming to the briefing?
Yep.
Wait for Tommy to get his computer too. All right, hey, thank you guys. Welcome. First of all, thank you for having us out today, and thank you for some of you that are local, I think, and some of you that made like a road trip. Hopefully, it was a fun road trip, and it'll be a fun road trip back. And our company is Airgility. My name is Pramod, or Mode for short. I'm the CEO and co-founder, and Ivandro here is our CTO and co-founder. We started the company 3 years ago. We spun out of the University of Maryland, so we're a university spin out, and we work closely with TEDCO. Ventures just kind of launched us, and so here we are today. So we started 3 years ago. We started really building drones is what we started to do. And then we realized that there was a whole world out there in terms of really AI and robotics and unmanned technologies. And as many businesses do, we kind of meandered our way into where we felt like the sweet spot is. And now we feel like we've really found it, which is a heavy emphasis on artificial intelligence and autonomy around unmanned systems. So what does that AI look like? What does the machine learning look like? And how does that play together in different systems? All systems are different. There's air, there's ground. We've gotten to a point where we are hardware agnostic, where we can put our systems into different things, not just our own products, but we can put them into other products as well. We like to call that intelligence by Airgility. There's a trademark next to that, by the way. And so I'm just going to put these here, and there's just a few copies of each. You guys can kind of look at them. Today, what we're going to do today, we have some drones on display, but today we're actually going to demo this, and I'm going to have Ivandro come talk all about it in a second. But this is a UGV unmanned ground vehicle that is designed to be an autonomous drone, basically ground drone, we'll call it. And it has lots of different applications in terms of what it could do. We like to call ourselves a hazardous or hotspot company because we can go into situations where humans can't go. And so that's what this is, where you're using UV technology, UV light, to help disinfect and sanitize not just surfaces, but the air around you as well. And so there's a lot of different applications. Our first markets are athletic facilities and potentially medical facilities as well. And there's lots of things. Schools, churches all have a desire to keep places clean. Even though COVID, we hope, will all be gone, and we'll not have to wear these masks all the time. The desire to be clean and just and always be, that's not going to go. That's here with us to stay. So today, and happy to talk to you about anything we're doing. And I'd like to have Ivandro come on up and talk to you guys a little more about technology, how it works, if you don't mind, and what you're going to see today as well.
I'm trying to make sure my phone is on silent. That doesn't happen to me. Hey everyone, thank you for coming out today. Thank you for the ongoing support here from the TechPort and having us already on what is really the second demonstration. We're here during Christmas to demonstrate some of the autonomous navigation that we've been developing. We had a crash and lots of fun. People have flown ever to fly in an environment where people was shed. So a high pressure, high stake event to make all these algorithms work. So we're all about driving to a level where it serves us very, very. And part of the pedigree at Airgility is that in that service of robots onto us, we actually don't share much love onto it. So as promoted, mentioned, the hotspot company, I'll take it an even step further in saying service is maximized when the robots are saving lives, and really comes into two flavors of either not entering into risk or removing the risk that's present. And what better way to come about that mission than with a robot that you can fully replace and iterate on and make it better at will. So that's a lot of our pedigree and what we do, from counter drone, air-to-air counter drone development, again, where the asset is lost, to some of the other GPS-denied exploration drones, some of which we demonstrated here. And now with this new pivot towards the ground, we have this tower, okay? And mind you, if I may say, this project that you see here is only 3 months old. Okay, so it still has quirks in it. There's still quite a bit of navigation to do, but it's quite an achievement to already have something that's alive and kicking to talk about. So also, besides the tech board, also Petco has always been with us since day one. For more than 9 since our day one, and with me in particular, since my day prior to Airgility, day one, at the University of Maryland. Next to that, of course, Office of Technology Commercialization, now UM Ventures, with Julia, she came on board, and all of that team. So we're very, very thankful for all of you. Okay? Given that heritage, as much as possible that we can introduce into our fold places here from PAX and other regional assets, we look forward to enjoying that pedigree together as we continue to develop and deliver missions that are important to you. So let's talk about the Cobra. It features 47 ultraviolet C LEDs. These LEDs emit in the 264 nanometer range. So right around 400 is where you no longer see the light, which is purple. And then have UVA, UVB, and then UVC. So when we do light this thing up, emitting UVC light, you only see a blue glow right at the source. And that's where, in the bell curve of distribution, you're just seeing that little tail end of the distribution curve where it crosses our visible range. Otherwise, the majority and the center point is at 264 micronanometers, micrometers, okay? And that's been shown over the years, decade, to be a germicidal sweet spot. So what happens at that magical frequency? So living cells do not like that frequency because it disturbs their DNA. So given enough exposure and destruction to the DNA, the cell can no longer function. So this hence the term sterilization and then sanitization. So sterilizing a cell, it can no longer infect. It can no longer inflame you. Okay, it's a defunct cell that can no longer generate inflammation. All the way to disinfection, where then you're interacting with something that's deceased. So what are these somethings? These somethings range from bacteria to other microbes and, of course, viruses. The company that we're working with is out of Colorado. Their name is Remove. Their pedigree comes from their invention. They too are a startup, small company, where they've created a ball. This ball that you put into the water emits UVC to sanitize drinking water. So what they're selling is basically you've gone camping, you want to clean the water before eating it, throw the ball into your, whatever it is, container, and there you go. And then a few seconds later, you can enjoy that water. Did it filter the dirt out of it? No. But it killed the things that you don't want to have in you that otherwise will make you go to the bathroom and have a very miserable camping trip, right? Or stay in the bush for the rest of your trip. So out of that, they've evolved into creating this LED solution with us, and we've basically combined it into the ground system. They have conducted direct testing of COVID-19. Now, they expect to gather quite a bit of attention given the results of their one single LED on that particular virus. So they're working on this white paper that they're very sensitive in releasing because the expectation is that it will rock the community in a very positive way. So if I can lightly forecast some of this testing, because we are under NDA, so I'll just say, with a grain of salt, this was single LED at the current emission power right here, although I'll say the results that I'm about to say are better than what I'm going to say, but to kind of skirt the NDA, I'll say this. A 6-foot range in less than 10 seconds of exposure, it'll kill the 99.9. So that bubble. Now what happens at 6.2 feet? Okay, it's not like there's a barrier. It's also affecting things way downstream. It just would take longer static exposure. Our goal, of course, is to have an arrangement such that as this vehicle here just walks your space, as something enters this 12-foot bubble, 6 feet ahead, 6 feet behind me, as that little microbe enters my bubble, by the time I leave it, it has seen the wet out duration to mitigate it. Other virtues of UVC, of course, are that it's also scrubbing the air. Everything the light touches. So everything this light touches, okay, is the same phenomenon there. It's also scrubbing the air. And then, of course, contactless and residue-less, which then becomes part of the conversation on the fogging technology. Right, there's still space between those droplets. Is that doing anything about that? No, it's not. Is it getting stuff that's way over there in that corner? No, it's not. Right, if there's air moving, circulating in here, the fog will be taken with it. Here, the light won't be bothered by other circulation events. So there are pros and cons, and every company is doing the best that they can in selling their solution. And in some cases, some are better than others. That's for sure. As far as further testing, that you guys are the second place that we're visiting. We have visited a private school and church, Catholic church, just 3 miles away from us, not one. We've already gone there twice. So we've meandered their hallway, their sixth grade classroom, and the church itself. I used to be a parishioner there for many, many years. So they let us into their environment as we continue to tweak the robotic performance of the vehicle. Some tweaking is still going on here, so pardon me if there are hiccups. This is still very, very nascent, but we really hope to grow it out. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask?
So let me, just a few comments from me. I just want to thank these guys for coming down here, because when I first started, you guys coming down doing your demo was a big deal, and it really benefited us. And the reason I like both of them so much is because I've seen their facility in College Park up near Julie, and it's kind of an engineer's playground, if you will. It's awesome. I mean, I don't understand any of it, but it's cool. But the part I like the most is the fact that you guys work with students, right? I don't know if these two gentlemen out here are students or not, but there were students everywhere in their facility, and that, to me, that was the perfect example of a university, a business working together. And that's really why, I wanted you guys to come down here, because I wanted you guys to show this community, what's possible. And more so than that, the guests that are here, TEDCO obviously has a connection to this building and to you guys, but also the TPP and Carter Rock and even Hugh from Indian Head. I know that one of the goals for this brand new building that's going in down here, called Building 3, is all types of autonomous and unmanned. So on the ground, in the air. Obviously down here we have a lot of things in the air, but we want to expand that. And so you guys are you're showing us the perfect example. I mean, traditionally you were a drone company from the air, but now you're kind of bridging that gap. So I appreciate it. And if I can give them a plug, they are raising some money right now, but I don't know how much longer that's going to be going on. But I bring that up for a very important reason. If you saw me fiddling with my computer, it's because I wanted to stream this. And I honestly can draw inspiration from these two guys, and even Dominic over here who's hiding in the back. They've been able to utilize social media to the max to build their brand. And that's one of the things that we've been fortunate enough to work with Dominic on doing here. But you guys are really showing people what's possible, especially during COVID. So if you ever want to see how it's done right, You do a great job too, by the way. But if you ever want to see how it's done right, just look to Airgility. And that's really what I've been trying to share. I really been trying to share that. I mean, Brian, watch these guys, what they do. Brian's a tenant here because they're doing good things. So that's my part. I don't know if Julie wants to make any comments. She's known you longer than me.
No.
But
Love the pivot.
Yeah.
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 That's what it's all about.
Yeah, when we started, really, the focus was on this very innovative thrust vectoring solution. Onboard vehicles, shell construction, friendly to iterations on carbon composites, friendly to iterations on a smaller scale, physical smaller scale, onto 3D printing. So that was the start of Airgility, and we took that to the places where budget and time and opportunity allowed us to. And then a new wave of opportunity came along with the University of Maryland with all the robotics people and ECE department students. But now, not so much on the undergraduate level, but at the graduate level. So that's when, in mentioning pivot, it was in addition to a growth spurt on top of the platforms we were baking. I said baking, not making. We're literally creating, putting in the ingredients. And then all this higher level automation started to come in, to tag into the automation building 3. So then we started going head first into sensor fusion, into algorithm fusion, and to traditional algorithms and AI-based algorithms. Okay, so then it can deliver the mission-specific decision-making and/or navigation-specific decision-making. Because believe it or not, they're not always the same. Right, navigation may say, I see more space over here, I want to go over here. This mission specific may see, but the guy with the gun's over there. Right.
So can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Unless I want to. Are you using LiDAR system on this robot, or how is it actually communicating with its environment?
This the Cobra has a little stereo camera right at the base. Right now it's just one, so it's really only aware of what's coming ahead of it.
Okay.
We just started going after what's supposed to be a bit easier lift, which is where it just recognizes its markers, goes up to X distance away to the marker before it goes after marker 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So on the tablet, you can say auto, so it goes searching the marker for markers, or actual through these little thumb dots for you to actually drive it around.
Huh.
So that's what's happening on this one. On the air, however, we have one system that has a single beam rotating LiDAR, and the other system has the stereo vision camera. So the stereo vision camera is then doing collision avoidance and actively capturing the map as it discovers it.
Right.
While the single beam LiDAR, we assemble your map, which then ends up looking just like a topological floor plan. Now, so if I manage to stay the same height everywhere, then you will be capturing exactly that. That's, for example, this slice of your building.
Huh.
What's the benefit to that? It's a lot less data intensive. So then the boards on board don't have to be as heavy or as power hungry. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to navigate without crashing into things. So the single beam LiDAR actually is a pretty interesting solution. It also has its other pros and cons.
For the ground version of this robot now, does it have to, then do you have to have a C map of this area that you're going to survey, or can it be agnostic, or it's not quite agnostic yet?
Well, so right now, in our existing path in its evolution, we're doing just the markers. We have kind of two flavors of where we want to go next, which is one of them, the user drives it around, and as they're driving it around, they're just saying, add navigation point, add navigation point. And then as it's being driven, it's mapping, recording, and then also placing those places. So then once you return it home, you say, okay, go auto.
Oh, like a Roomba.
It'll just do it. Yeah. So that's one way. Another way that we've done follow me using the Airgility logo in the air. Mm-hmm. We've already demonstrated that. We could do that too, where then you're just walking around and you're not even driving it anymore. You're just hitting navigation point navigation point, and it's just following, let's say, the logo in your back. And then that's how you could teach it, you know, how to do it. Otherwise, a more comprehensive search algorithm is something to develop, but then not only it's much longer on the development life cycle. The vehicle might end up going in here and really liking the spot when like no one touches that area really. It's over here that people have gone to. Now, having said that, we also have plans for even further AI. And this is where the robotic solution, the Cobra, starts to going into security solution. So this vehicle, as it sits on the corner during its off time, right, because there are people here, otherwise it would hurt our skin. It could be doing other things too, like looking for people that are there, aren't there. Or there should be no one in the room right now. Send out a flag. Okay, we have a safety feature right now where if it sees a human shape, it shuts off. So we're already detecting human shapes. But to detect that human shape during off time, it also now becomes a security guard for you.
Now, to go back to your primary mission right now, that is sanitization, maybe sterilization. We know that we have to have intensity, proximity, and time to make those things happen. Can the robot itself, as it's configured now, can it check behind itself to see that it's adequately, let's say, consider a three-dimensional space, sanitized, let's say, up to my head level, but does the air conditioning have to be on, provide circulation so that the thing can stay in there and provide a good, certifiable sanitization? And do you need to check behind it afterwards? And so what I'm looking at is where is it now and where do you want to take it as you develop? Because I realize you've made some marketing decisions to get to market quickly.
Yeah, so at the moment we want to drive just enough automation where it's feasible for you to train it once and then you're happy with it. That's the need. The next layers could be, you know, track people's hands again as it's sitting in the corner, track people's hands, and then where people touch the most or interacted the most, then it could adapt its navigation path to then make sure it dwells near that area or inserts that into its navigation destiny. So it's certain to stay even longer. We have over an hour worth of battery breaks inside of there. Okay, so really to meander a space and then have these, you know, longer 5-10 seconds in the same spot would be fine. And again, things that are outside of the 12-foot bubble are also still being affected. Okay, so then by the time it gets over here, some of whatever is floating up here has already been partially mitigated.
Just like when I set up an electrostatic air cleaner that's not at the capacity to blast all the stuff out of the room, through air changes over time, it gets the job done.
Yeah. So exactly. So there's opportunity to use it that way. Now you bring up an interesting point of how interconnected is there opportunities for this robot to be with other assets in the room, such as it receives information that a certain duct is on. So then as it passes by it stays there for a longer dwell. Its immediate vicinity has already been cleaned, but as more air column leaves the duct, it's scrubbing that too.
See, this is exciting to me because of like Class 100 clean rooms, which would be beyond intensive care levels. They've always had problems cleaning those facilities. They try to keep them clean, but every time you go through the airlock with your little suit on, something comes in.
Yeah.
And so this would be just a brand high end, just eventuality. That's free, by the way.
Thank you. One thing I just wanted to add, because you talked about pivot, and it's actually maybe it applies to people that are listening in from a business perspective, is we never really truly pivoted. We said we need to figure out how to apply an AI or autonomy layers, like Vivando has been describing, to our technologies. So what he talked about, how we started with the independent thrust vector, that's all still very valuable and still like early to market almost. Like nobody else. there's not as many people doing that sort of thing, and it's still desirable. And we're seeing that desire take shape now, especially with the DoD that's looking for small form factor UAS that we're developing. However, what's cool, and this is where this is a plug for the university, is that we said, Evandro had made some relationships with the robotics and AI people, and we said, hey, let's bring in a few interns and see if we can at least get started, and we'll take it from there. And now it's turned into a full-blown, we have a full-blown robotics AI team, which has been great. So the university has been a wonderful resource for us to develop that when we thought we were going to have to purely partner initially and find another company to do that with.
Yep.
Just wanted to make that clear that we didn't truly pivot, we kind of added a layer.
We defined a niche.
Yeah.
Successfully.
Fine-tuned your value
Eliminating it and exploiting it.
Right.
from a market timing perspective too,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked out quite nicely. And yeah, the word is getting out. And what next to zero, employment advertisement there is, I keep on getting resumes almost daily from Northeastern University and places up in Boston,
Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Virginia Tech,
Georgia Tech.
yeah. So there's now, it's the beacon is we believe, we definitely wanted to make that happen, getting stronger and stronger. So talent's not just the ones that are here, and believe me, if we could, we would hire them all, right? Of the homebrew talent that's already here waiting, but now there's from abroad too.
Just say it out loud again, the actual university's name of the students that you tapped into the talent.
Go Terps.
Yeah. Okay, so we for the first time that we've ever, we've had one.
Sorry.
We've had
That's why
Wow, there we go.
University of Maryland.
we've had a couple of, or just one,
What's that?
Virginia Tech students,
Yes.
and now we ventured out a little bit outside of Maryland only, which was now George Washington, which is still
But the majority of your students are from University of Maryland.
Oh, yeah. There's
99.9. We're talking about in our span of students that have come and gone and graduated and moved on, and those that are here with us now, we may have already cycled in and out something like 60 or 70.
So
And I've
two or
noticed some good
three weren't
diversity on your
Wow.
team.
So just to be clear, Tammy, you may have seen our social media post from about, I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, where we did a whole shout out to the University of Maryland and how we're both proud aerospace grads, number 6 in the nation. Our AI robotics department is, I think, number 8 or something. And then we have Dingman students that work for us now too, number 9 in the nation. So we did a big shout out to the University of Maryland. Yeah.
They are also standing on a Maryland flag that's fully in camera shot. So there's no secret about that. Yeah, we're good. The university.
Well, here's my little engineering Maryland pin too.
There you go.
I'm so pleased that Julie Glenzer has helped us with the collaboration for innovation and strengthening the innovation ecosystem in Maryland. She's been a fabulous collaborator and champion of all things AI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
When you got raw material like this,
Yeah.
You guys ready?
Yeah, let's go. Welcome.
Thank
Over
you.
there. Let's set up over there.
where do you need us to stand? Are there certain
Yeah,
areas?
let me give directions here.
Let's just go see
Let's set this up.
if they're ready, and then we've made this first behind different locations where I can see their back.
For anyone watching, I'm going to set this up kind of in a area where you can see the actual UGV working. I won't be able to move it around because I'll have to get myself out of the light so as it doesn't cause any harm. But you should be able to see it in action from the vantage point that I'm leaving it. So this is Cobra right here. Before they get started, there are some markers, as you can see, that have been set up to help with telling the robot where it is.
Okay.
The device itself is completely 3D printed, sans the light bulbs.
Okay, great.
But you can see it's about, I'd say this is about 4 feet high, and they're gonna turn on shortly.
So let's just move it over here, and then the options are to either go in this room, or we can, too bad it's still raining. We can raise the shades over there and then watch it from outside. Or other option is behind is stand on the other side of this plexi.
That's where I'm gonna
The last option would be for you to sit down, be seated, and then watch through here.
You also mentioned this glass, this room.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did. You mentioned both of
Okay,
those, and I think we can
and that office
squeeze
is open as well.
Yeah, so
Um,
you're tall enough because of
Sandra,
the.
we that office over there as well.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to go in that glass office over here?
Barricade yourself, just make sure you're looking through the glass. No, it's gonna go it's just gonna go straight line that way away from it. But it's still casting light at you.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
It's too small in there.
Will I be okay back here? Is okay here?
No, you have to be behind glass.
Oh, behind glass.
Yes, because even at a distance, it'll,
Ah,
okay, so we have those.
that's right, yeah.
Too bad it's raining, out there would have been the best view.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good spot.
There we go.
Yes, yeah, that's a good spot. You could stand behind that taller one, over here. Come on. Yeah, so right here, so it doesn't, don't take a move for here, because then it'll get the side of your head. And the other thing too is if it actually sees a human shape in its path, it'll shut down. So then it saws. Okay? Are you guys ready? Where are you gonna hide?
I'm gonna be inside with the kid.
I'm gonna be out here.
Okay.
Okay, you guys ready? Go ahead, guys.
Lights going on.
When the vehicle shines red, it's on. And then you only see little blue dots where the light emits. Okay? But when it glows red, it's on.
Are we ready, Wando?
Go ahead. There you go, that's it. All right, did it not like? Is that all?
Yeah.
That's as far as you want to travel, okay? Do a drive demo where they can drive it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it'll follow the markers of how anticlimactic, right? But it leaves the space around here. It'll just it followed. It saw that marker, then this marker, and then it stayed a certain distance away from this one. So it's a matter of really we want to eliminate the marker to go to just the map space. The one thing, however, in having a map space is that if you were to, let's say, be at a military installation, would they like it that the new robot now has their floor plan map? I don't know. Maybe they would, or maybe,
Good cyber. Good
That's not a problem.
cyber security in it.
you know.
Right. Yeah.
But it's otherwise just inside of there. You want to let them drive? Yeah, go ahead. Make it. One of our robotics have to be out of the way.
Have to show you that.
And wait for 10 seconds.
Well, you gotta come out of there. Come out of there. Because otherwise, we're always in view of it. You gotta find that little. So we have to do better with the motor selection. We picked some motors that we just did not like because of the encoder. So we need to do better so it does a better rolling job. We're using Mecum wheels that give you this.
Right.
But the learning curve on that has been that we did not put the pattern of the tires in a square shape. So then the Mecum wheels are actually giving us more rolling resistance than we wanted to.
There's actually a variable frequency drive micromotors now that you might want to look at the family because they're stepless.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you actually don't need transmissions.
Wow. So we need to iterate on that so it gives us that broader range because we're just having a darn time with the various features from floor to floor.
Well, yeah, going over
And,
thresholds, it'll kind of tip a little.
And then the height of it, something else to iterate on is just, unlike our drones, we can just keep on packing battery because the more we put it in there, provided the motors will work, then the more lower the CG will
I was
be.
gonna say, that was my next comment, was you see me.
Yeah, because we're
CG,
too light.
sorry.
We're too light. Then also another side on that iteration will make the snout a little bit, because it can move when you actually, if you really make it go, but then as soon as you're stopping, it'll want to tip.
Well, that was the whole thing about the Roomba development, when they first came out with that. They had all sorts of problems like that.
So the Frontier, the idea is to one day possibly mechanize it as well, so then it'll extend more LEDs. So then you have more LEDs facing up and then more of them facing down. So then as we go along something like a cafeteria at a school, if you remember that with the tables with the bases, the red square bases everywhere, you know, it's shining down, capturing that too. So it's just some aspects of, making this shorter, allowing for more battery space in the bottom as we clean up wiring, iterate on the motors. So it's part of the learning journey. It's only been 3 months. But all of it doable.
Sure. Have you looked into what is the optimum base diameter of these things? You could probably go higher than that.
Yeah, so we wanted to at one point in time entertain having this go on board aircraft. So right now your aisle is 17 inches, which is what this is. Which is as is. There's no, you have to be flawless going down the aisle.
Right.
So as far as capturing that market, run away. See, but then it's scary, but it's also the lip. Since we didn't chamfer the lip, it'll actually catch itself.
Okay.
So that could be something else. Having some forward skid would also help solve it.
Well, I mean, here you are, but you're identifying all these challenges and you're working on them as you go and having another aha moment about something else you can add to the capability at the same time.
Yeah, so that was why also we made the lower portion its own 3D piece. There are 3 pieces here. There's from here to here, then here to here, and then here to here.
All right.
So we would just iterate on that one piece, which isn't in it by itself, a three
And
long,
this is
print.
your prototype, the only one.
The only one in existence. We are, we didn't mention DevTech. We've been working a lot with Kim from DevTech on an Army Creative, and we are waiting for the execution, the executable contract.
Right.
Everything's been talked about. Because they took an interest in this, and we have an interest in getting to them up at CDC, the Chemical Biological Center. So then they could do testing for disinfection.
Right.
Because then forget about the testing that the LED manufacturer made. That's then the data set we put forward. Because
Yeah.
then
So if you
no one will say anything about, the Army gave us this data.
Right,
It wasn't that we paid for it, we paid for the result.
right.
So is there a reason you're going with that test for the CARE for ECDC versus going to back to the B?
No, the only reason was because I knew Tim.
Okay.
That's why we do things, it's all transparent.
I didn't know anyone else in that organization, that was it.
Is that going to open up funding opportunities as well, or are you just looking for testing?
Yeah, the creative would not fund us, it would just allow us to leverage some of their capability
Right.
in helping our journey.
Right.
And we had a start date of August 15th, so we would have already been sitting on the data.
Right.
Again, I'm not speaking poorly about them, it's
Just the way it is.
the document went to their legal and it's in legal
There it is,
limbo,
right.
not that there's anything wrong with it, it just
Takes a
takes
lot.
6
long
weeks
time.
to get them to say no or yes.
I've never been creative with a company that builds the processors. And it took 4 months to get it out the door,
Yeah.
out of legal.
Yeah.
The only reason I asked is because Rand MD is more manufacturing,
Uh-huh.
but they do have a master carried out already to Rand MD. So all you do is to work on authorization.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
they have a master trader that allows you to start working quicker.
Oh,
You are
okay.
not getting a trader, so Airgility is not working on a trader.
Oh, okay.
Airgility works with Rand MD to do that. So that is the.
Oh, okay, if you have the introduction, of what you talked about, that was great. We're just,
I know they work a lot in manufacturing. I don't know if that creator covers a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
If you
this-
were doing
this side.
that may be something that's cool. But they have a master creator, so it's already set in place,
Yeah.
and all you do is work on automation.
so, it's very lit, yeah, so the other thing, since it's very bright in here, you couldn't see the blue dot. We
I was
have
gonna
a
ask
nice
you, why
video.
we do one with the lights off?
We have I could bring up a video over there on the screen where we were going in the dimmer, we put down shades in the classroom at the school. And then you see the blue glow right at the source.
What is the data that they're collecting?
He's the friction on your floor. Which is, it's part of the journey because even something smooth like this that you take for granted, it can be an issue.
Absolutely.
And that's, again, we're trying to do a lot. So you guys now are part of the history because you're here when you saw this thing that goes from here to there in a straight line.
That's right.
And then they'll come back here in 2 months and they're like, okay, let's just do everything. That's very cool. So the just in getting at the straight line. And then, but it's communicating via the wireless router here. So we have a real fast router because we're streaming the video. And then that's the off. Again, we just need to weigh it down. Or say no more beacon wheels, let go of the side action. Because part of the issue is that those wheels are tricky.
Right.
Yeah? Let them see if you can.
Does it rotate around, like, does it go to a point and then stay there and rotate around?
Yeah, so that's what he's having. He's having a little bit of issue in the yarn in place. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's sticking.
Yes, it's sticking to this floor. And then,
So is it picking up, so what's the box that's?
So it detects the person, so it's showing that there's a person here. And then it won't let you move until the person goes out of sight, and then have a 10-second delay for that. So right now, there's a person that you can't move. So it's just forward and backward through this.
very cool. It's very, that's our recommendation, this thing, officially.
Why not use some other, like, technology that already proven? Why are you recreating? What's unique about what you're doing as opposed to other pieces that you can put together from other technologies?
Well, we want the village within our custom operating.
So is it gonna memorize?
I just think
where
like
it's
from the
been,
collision
or no?
avoidance and the
You don't
navigation piece of it,
you don't
so
have
that's
that right
already
now,
existing,
because
and
you don't
then
know the story
places,
now.
why not build on
Is
it?
that something that's something?
We are, we've developed that already.
In future, yes, we want to.
But in-
We have to accept it.
Just now,
You find an iteration.
we're out of our box in the powertrain.
The driver, the-
Well, then I guess that's what I'm saying, why not use that improvement?
And then
You've
all
already
the
done
way
that.
to select.
It can be, yes, exactly. It's just, with us being able to.
Yeah, it's fun to see.
Space,
Yeah, it's amazing after you resolve this. You guys did a great job. And the shape is,
But it's
like a Cobra.
Yeah.
But then when this comes out, obviously it'll be able to,
Yeah, the weight
you know, to
the other thing that's.
There, and then there's also another thing,
We have the lights over here.
Where's the
It's going to be so, it's like these.
yeah.
And.
What if you learn to do, right?
This arm is part of the vision here in having more LEDs deployed that are facing strictly up and more LEDs that are facing
Got it.
straight down.
Okay.
So even that, in CAD, it looks nice, but then in
Well, it
Infinity, it's
changes
just
the
like, it's
whole
way too long.
mobility, yeah,
Yes.
it changes the whole
It's
mobility.
way too long. There's about a foot here that really we need to get rid of.
I mean, that.
Yeah, like over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You know, we don't need it to be that far out.
Mhm.
Because again, the point is to then have even more of
Right.
the light directed. So now it's 6 feet from here up,
Mhm.
okay?
So you're just.
In addition to this crown right there.
Right.
So we need to iterate on this side. We possibly, we did this as a separate piece. So then if you wanted to motorize it, we would just iterate on just this,
Mhm.
not scrap the whole print.
Mhm.
So it's something, oh, by the way, we didn't,
Now, you guys have your own
Have a look
printers, or
in.
did you do this at the university?
say again?
Do you have your own printers that did this, or did you do this at UMD?
No, this print job was done in Texas.
Do you not have any capability locally? I'm just curious.
Not
Not that you.
that we could find.
This is a cool technology demonstration.
Isn't it cool? Is it cool inside there?
If I was you, that's what I'd call it. I wouldn't call it a prototype, I'd call it a technology demonstrator, and that gives you all of the shakies and everything else because.
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
demonstrating that technology.
Well, that's what I was trying to say over there. This is only 3 months old project,
Right, right.
but in 3 months, this is,
And it's growing nose already. Holy
Yeah, yeah.
cow.
Yeah.
gonna see the fangs come out of it.
Right, yeah.
And then it's called Cobra because of, you know, the.
Yeah, well, it's like the SR-71.
Except for
You
this.
could probably do a nice print job. That could be the fangs.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, you ought to put a couple of screen nozzles out on.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And then paint it up like they used to paint the old P-40s with a tiger shark mouth.
And saying it's lethal on COVID.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, really cool. Yeah, I'm very excited for the possibility too of adding the security aspect of it too. This thing is like has its own base on the corner and looking for other anomalies or raising other alerts. Or again, tracking just more people hung out over here for some reason today, so I'll go over there a little bit more. So they're just, we'll see, that's what
I had to take a phone call, got stuck out there, and they said, don't go in there. So I was like, all right, I'll hang on. Yeah.
It may be missing.
Yeah.
And no information is underneath. You collect this stuff, you could be.
Yeah, thank you,
right on
guys.
the
Really
cusp of
appreciate
the
it.
next anticipated.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we, I'm doing the process, so we're actually going through acquisition, right? And, I literally just, that's what, I take the call.
So we
Sorry.
also,
Well,
we're also, you know, this is again, on
and then
the,
the actual list.
so there are 3 little LEDs here. So, this is one of the vehicles that was developed for DHS,
Yeah,
so
give yourself some room left in the.
very challenging project because we have to stay within 3 foot doors.
Yeah, I don't think it would happen until,
That
yeah,
puts a
I don't think
lot
it would happen
of
until January.
restraint on
Because they
the amount
basically
of
have.
power, the amount of weight, the sensors, and this guy here is very heavy. The single beam LiDAR. But this gets us to 40 meters.
That's all it is. And it gets
So you're
funded,
doing
which
this for the
we
science
have
and
that.
technology director?
Yes.
And then there's like 2 months or 3 months.
So this is the one variant. The other variant actually has the same stereo vision
So it's
camera
still a little ways away.
on board, which is at a higher
I
degree
think
of autonomy.
it looks, everything looks really
Jeep
positive. I mean, anything can happen.
Ashland is not here. He did a lot of the
I
work
think
for
that if
this guy.
anything's gonna happen, then.
Security is doing the next version, iteration, and us eliminating the Chinese made optical flow.
All right.
But with an optical flow that works just about near darkness to all the way to where the sun is in the. So then you go US made, it's incredibly larger. But along the vision of us having plug and
So
play.
is this happens, hopefully this happens all.
And their website, I don't
You'll
call
have
this, I don't know.
wonderful
He usually does
marketing story.
We call it the cat dog. The cat dog. The cat dog. Well, actually, it comes from a cartoon that was done with, in Nickelodeon.
Well, plug and play doesn't sound very sophisticated.
Yeah. So we created this guy, it's set for much lesser power rating than that, but otherwise. So you see, you see some of the blue glow right at the source, but then you don't see it anywhere else. Right. Now this glow here is just our own LED, but the other nice 3D blue glow is what this crosses into the purple rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You got
but
it.
otherwise you don't see anything else, right? You only see it right at the source. And you're also
Sounds good.
further seeing it because it's also glowing the plastic. Yeah, otherwise.
Yeah.
So when we get in phone calls, I say, oh, we also create a attachment for our vision to build out the aerial side of this inspection. So then I'm like, Men in Black, yeah, lean into the camera. And this got a zappy thing here. Some people are like, on the other side of a Zoom call, they're like, oh yeah. Oh, here, so you guys can.
Oh, because we're just. Yeah. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. Got it.
Right there.
Yeah.
Wow. They were even outside of
Got it. Yeah. You know what? We're so used to just being here. Yeah, the university. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and actually, that's why I pointed out that social media post. We actually did a post.
Let me just show you this.
A week and a half ago, specifically saying, "Hey, we are all proud Turks here."
Here's the blue glow.
We had nobody knows the Turks. Okay, got it. Okay. Don't worry
You
about
couldn't
it.
see it with all these lights on this.
That's good media coaching.
Well, you saw the video. You saw the video.
Oh, yeah.
CTO quarter number 3. You saw the little dot.
Okay, you got it. All right. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yep. Can we get a red carpet here?
Oh, thank you.
Like you're not here.
That'd be fun.
How long you been working?
It's something like this, and you clean everything, but I just roll it right through. I did it just a minute.
Oh, you got
The shadow, across the year, gonna go randomly cut
Well, thank you.
These quarters.
Very
Wow.
much today.
You're getting all the way up my back, okay, well, who goes under there?
Problems have, problem kind of
Wait, you
thing.
like that?
So who now is looking into.
Thank you for having me. No problem, man, I give you a call.
All right, thank you.
I know, but the challenge is they're just looking in the air,
Yeah, we appreciate it.
It's fascinating.
I was telling
You know, baby steps and we'll keep on going forward.
And so we're trying to help
Thank you
find
so much.
some viewers who understand the quantum. So we're, I agree with on quantum startup.
So you will, somebody else come over and actually take a look at the velocity center. Oh, yeah? Okay, maybe I'll come over. Or give you a call and see what it's convenient.
Actually, live here.
What do you live? We had 30.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I really like to take a look.
Well, I'm gonna at least one or two of my colleagues, you know, that we have a.
All right, if anyone's still watching, we are ending the broadcast now. Thanks for joining us. These gentlemen, I believe, are going to be back in a week or so. They're going to be coming to do another demo. Next time around, we'll probably try to have 2 different cameras to show you some different angles. But hopefully this has been informative, and see you all soon.